Okay, for this tips and tricks, we're going to be talking about brain burn. Brain burn is basically when you are doing so much that it feels like your brain is on fire. So this can happen when you're running a very complicated deck, or when you're playing against a complicated quest, or you're doing both. And that's what's happening in this quest we're about to watch. It's a very complicated quest with triggers happening at weird times and lots of steps to remember that are in addition to all the normal steps of the game. And then the deck I'm playing also has a lot of finesse to it and a lot of things for me to keep track of. So that can cause brain burn, which can lead to you making some mistakes. And nobody likes to make mistakes. So I guess my tip is, if you are playing a brand new deck that you have never played before, take it up against a quest that you are familiar with that doesn't require you to have to think a lot about how to play that quest. Or if you're playing a new quest, bring a deck that you are very familiar with so you don't have to think a lot when you're playing the deck because you're very familiar with it. I do not recommend playing a brand new deck against a brand new quest unless you're ready for some brain burn. Some people like brain burn. I think it keeps you young or something. I don't know. If that were true, I would be 8. All right. Let's get on to the video. All right, side 1A of Deadman's Dike, the Shades of Agmar. We're going to put Aerion into play. We're going to set Thardir aside, out of play. And we're going to add 1 copy of Fornos Square to the staging area. 1B is 11 quest points. We got to get engaged by a Baleful Shade. And then we're going to reveal an encounter card. And then at the end of the refresh phase, we're going to discard the top card of our deck, and if we ever run out of cards, we're going to be eliminated from the game. Let's take a look at this Baleful Shade. It's 30 engagement, a 2 threat, 2 attack, 1 defense, 5 hit points, undead, and wraith. Forced, when it attacks, we're going to discard the top card of our deck. If it's an ally, he gets +2 attack. These guys are nasty. In the staging area is Fornos Square, 1 threat, but it gets +1 for each resource on it, and then forced, after we discard any number of cards from the top of our deck, we're going to place a resource here, and it's 4 progress. We got to get that out of the staging area. Helping us is Aerion. He's a Dunedain Ranger objective ally. He has X for all of his stats, and they get boosted when a side quest is in play. He has 4 hit points, and if a side quest is revealed from the encounter deck, we're going to get to ready. And if he leaves play, we lose. Okay, my hero lineup is Frodo Baggins, Spirit, 7 threat, 2/1/2/2, and then when he would take any amount of damage, we're going to cancel that damage and raise our threat by that amount. We're also bringing Gimli, Tactics, 11 threat, 2/2/2/5. He gets +1 attack for each damage on him. And then finally, Gandalf, 14 threat, 3/3/3/5. We play with the top card of our deck face up. We can play that face-up card once a phase, and then when we play a card off the top of our deck, Gandalf is considered to have the Leadership, Lore, Spirit, and Tactics resource icons. And if this hero lineup looks familiar, it should. It was the same hero lineup I used in the first quest of the cycle. When I started playing this quest, I realized that those 3 heroes are actually really good against this one as well, so I thought, let's bring them back. I did make some modifications to the deck. Here you can see the cards that were in the first version and then the changes I made for this next version. So tweaking your deck in between quests, it's something I really enjoy. It's very fun. It makes the quests more fun to play when you put cards in your deck that are tailored to help you with the quests that you are going up against. All right, let's take a look at the opening hand. I've also realized I have now played Spirit Frodo in all 3 of these quests. He's really good against this cycle. Okay, we got Handmaiden for questing, a weapon, Gandalf's Staff, okay, great, Miravor, Hidden Cache, or Cache, and then a Test of Will. Nope, I'm going to shuffle that sucker away. I absolutely need the Wizard Pipe and also Stargazer because we're going to have to discard cards off the top of the deck, and I really want to control what's being discarded off the top of the deck, especially with the Baleful Shade getting that boost if it's an ally. So I need to make sure I don't have an ally on top of my deck, and Stargazer and or the Pipe are going to let me do that. I'm really hoping to be able to take care of this Baleful Shade as soon as possible. I don't want this guy engaged with me any longer than he has to be. All right, let's see if my mulligan is going to pan out and get me some cards that I need. I know if I have a bad opening hand, I'm going to have a really rough game, so I need to see something. Okay, there's Arwen on top of my deck, and hey, Stargazer, perfect. So I'll be able to rearrange my cards. That's what I needed. And a Wizard Pipe. Wow, okay, this mulligan was definitely awesome. We also get the Riddermark's Finest. That's going to help me clear locations if need be. We got Gandalf's Staff, so that gives me a bunch of options, all of them great. And I got the Hidden Cache, so that works good with Wizard Pipe and Threat Reduction. I really should look up if it's Cache or Cache. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong this whole time and driving you crazy. And when I played the quest, I forgot to reveal the card right now, but I remembered after I got done planning. So you're going to see me revealing the encounter card, but you're going to notice I've already done my planning. So just ignore my board state and let's focus on the cards that I reveal. So I reveal a Sorcery Treachery. It's Heavy Curse. It's going to surge, and we attach it to the current quest. It's going to count as a condition attachment, and when I play a card that matches the title of a card already in my discard pile, I got to raise the cost by 1. Oh man, I was really hoping to avoid that card for the entire game, not get it on the opening turn. Good lord. And then Haunted Keep, 3 threat, 3 progress. While it's the active location, each undead enemy gains surge. That's also terrible. Okay, so now taking a step backwards in my live playthrough, we're going to go to my planning phase. So I am going to play the Wizard Pipe with Gimli's resource. I think this is like the exact same thing I was able to do in the first playthrough. And then Wizard Pipe is going to swap Stand and Fight with Stargazer. Stargazer is going to now be able to be played because Gandalf has a Spirit resource. And then Aether Swordsman ends up on top of my deck. So not too shabby. Stargazer I can now use because I do not want an ally on top of my deck when that Baleful Shade attacks. So I got to make sure I put something that's not an ally. And it looks like Wizard Pipe is going to be the best option. So I will have Wizard Pipe be the top card of my deck. And now let's go into the quest phase. So I'm going to be sending 8, and we get a Cursed Dead. So when revealed, put each copy of the Cursed Dead in the discard pile into play in the staging area. Okay, that's terrible, but it's great to get it now. It doesn't actually do anything except add 1 threat. So I make 3 progress, which is really good for turn 1. And then we are definitely going to be traveling to that Fornos Square, because that thing can just ramp up in threat like crazy. You discard cards off the top of your deck all the time. Alrighty, so now the Cursed Dead is going to engage me. And I'm going to deal out the shadow cards, and then I have to discard the top card of my deck when the Baleful Shade attacks. So it is not an ally, and that would increase the threat of the Fornos Square. So I'm just putting that there to show that that would have happened. And the shadow is discard an attachment I control. Oh no. Oh, that's really bad. That's absolutely terrible because I just discarded another copy of Wizard Pipe, so I don't know if I'm going to ever see Wizard Pipe again. Alright, Gimli took 2 damage from that one. And then this attack, I'm going to use Frodo's ability to cancel the damage and raise my threat by an equal amount. Then it's the end of the round. Everybody's exhausted, so raise my threat, discard the top card of my deck per the effect on the quest card, and we're going to go into the next round. So let's get our resources and draw a card. All right, the Sigil Miner on top of my deck. That is good because that is how I'm going to generate money. So I'm going to use Gandalf's ability and Frodo's resource and put Ziggy into play. And now I'm going to use Stargazer to look at the top 5 cards and see which 2 I'm going to discard to Ziggy. Yeah, I know it's kind of dangerous to be discarding cards in this quest, but I have Will of the West, so I just need to make sure I play Will of the West to get my discard pile back. There's Will of the West. So I will not be showing you how I arrange my cards. If you want, you can pause the video and decide how you would do it and see if it matches me. So what I decide to do here is discard the 2 Aether Swordsmen, giving me 2 resources, and then I'm going to put Arwen into play. I wanted to definitely get someone else in with some willpower, and that was the best way, because I want to draw that Will of the West. I need to get that into my hand. Alright, let's send on the quest. I am sending 6 against 3. I need to kill these enemies, and oh, for the love of God, I get another one. Another Baleful Shade. Ugh. I'm really nervous I can pull out of this. This is not good. This is really bad. There's like a number of reasons this is really bad. What are my options here? So I will use Quick Strike right now and kill that Cursed Dead. And then Gimli is exhausted. So my top card is now Miravor. Okay, I'm in a lot of trouble. Okay, so if Frodo defends, he's defending for 3 thanks to Arwen. If he defends, I discard the top card. It's not an ally, so it's 2 against 3. And the card is no shadow. Okay, that's good, so I don't have to raise my threat. This was really my only hope. I had to hope I could either not take damage or maybe just take 1 damage and then trigger Frodo's ability, because that's once per phase. But the worst part is that second Baleful Shade makes me discard my Will-o'-the-Wisp. No! Alright, exhaust a character I control? Well, I'm spent. I don't have anybody. So now I'm engaged with 2 of these stupid things. I lost my Will-o'-the-Wisp. I only have 1 copy left. But I also have Dwarven Tomb. So if I have Dwarven Tomb, I might be able to get this one into play. But yikes. If I lose my second Will-o'-the-Wisp and don't have a way to play it, I'm screwed. It's game over pretty much. Alright, so in the refresh phase, before I discard a card from the quest effect, let's use Stargazer, and holy crap. Okay, so I arranged it with the well-equipped on top of the deck. That's the card that gets discarded. My next card is a Feint. Now I'm going to collect my resources. I'm going to draw a Feint. And my next card is well-equipped. So I can play that off the top of my deck with Gandalf's ability, discard the next 2 cards, and put an attachment on a dwarf if able, if one of those 2 cards is an attachment. So Gimli now has an axe. And my next card is the Hidden Cache. Well, that's great. I don't know what the next card is, but I will say 0. Nah, shoot. Unexpected Courage. That's okay. So I get 3 resources. 1 from the 0 and 1 from the Hidden Cache. Or Cache. So I'm going to put those all on Frodo. Okay, so with Frodo's 4 resources and these cards in my hand, I think the smart move... Oh, wait. My top card is a Hobbit Pipe. That changes things. Okay, I am going to use Gandalf's Staff. Man, I wish I had a pipe. If I had a pipe, everything would be so much easier. Okay, I am going to use Gandalf's Staff, put that on Gandalf, and I can either draw a card, give somebody a resource, or discard a shadow card. So what I'm going to do is draw a card. Handmaiden's on top of my deck, but now I have that Hobbit Pipe, which costs 0. It goes on a Hobbit character. When I play a threat reduction event, I get to draw a card with the Hobbit Pipe. So now I will play the Gladrium's Greeting, drop my threat by 6, exhaust the Hobbit Pipe, and draw a card. I think that was the smart way to do this. I'm not really sure how I'm surviving combat, to be honest. Okay, so then the next card is Feint, which would be awesome to have on top of my deck, as long as I don't have to discard it. So I'm glad that's on top of my deck. I should be able to play it and cancel one of these attacks. So that's good. All right, 6 against 3 again, and I get Thardir's Damned. A 3/5/2/6. Good lord. Undead Wraith. Oh, no. And then when he engages me, I have to discard the top 2 cards of my deck and assign damage equal to the cost. Well, there goes that Feint. Ugh, I have 1 in hand, but dang, I was going to hold on to the 1 in hand and play the 1 on my deck. All right, no progress made. Man, during playtesting of this quest, I never was having this much trouble. I'm pretty sure I'm dead, but let's just keep playing. So I got to discard the top 2 cards. There goes a Dwarven Tomb. Okay, there's a Citadel Plate. That would be nice to get on Gimli at some point. So I got to take 2 damage from the 2 cards I discarded. So now Gimli is powered up, but I got to survive all these freaking attacks. Ugh. Gosh. Okay, I am going to use Frodo. So we discard the Citadel Plate. There's my Wizard Pipe. Okay, and then attacking enemy gets +1 if it destroys a character. I got to reveal a card. Okay, well, it doesn't destroy anybody. So then I'm going to use Feint against this guy. So that's good. So Frodo was 3 defense, and I feinted that guy. Now I'm going to discard my Wizard Pipe. Why couldn't those 2 cards have been reversed? Okay, so then this Baleful Shade is attacking for 2, and I can use Frodo's ability, and we get discard the top, 3 cards, and then attacking enemy gets +1 for each different card type discarded. Well, it looks like I'm discarding this Hidden Cache anyway. Okay, so remember, Frodo, you can use his ability once per phase. So what I did is I defended for 3 because he has Arwen boosting him, and then now I'm taking this undefended and planning on using his ability. So there's 1, 2. Quick Strike would have been so good too. And 3, so that was 2 events and an attachment. So he's attacking for 2 more. There's me remembering I should have paid for that feint. All right, so Frodo collected 2 resources from that hidden cache, and now I got to raise my threat by the amount of damage Frodo would have taken. So I'm limping along, but my threat can't keep raising forever. I'm still engaged with the enemy from the start of the game, plus 2 more. I'm just not sure how I'm going to get out of this. So let's use Gimli. He's attacking for 7, plus an additional 1 thanks to the effect of the axe. So I do kill that damned enemy that I just got. So let's head into the refresh phase. My top card is now a Test of Will. I'm going to ready everybody after raising my threat, and then we'll use Stargazer to once again take a peek at the next 5 cards. And I'm going to arrange them with the Ziggy on top. He gets discarded at the end of the round. The next card is this Aether Swordsman. So we're going to go into the next round. I get my resources. I draw the Swordsman. And then I'm going to be discarding the next 2 cards to the Ziggy I have in play. So I'll say 4. And they both cost 4. I eventually want to get a Citadel Plate on Gimli. But right now, I know if I don't get my willpower online, I'm going to lose. So I need to focus on willpower first and then try to power Gimli up. So let's play Stand and Fight. So the way that curse works is the cost of the card you are playing is increased by 1 if there's a copy in your discard pile. Well, there's no copy of Stand and Fight in my discard pile. So I can use that Stand and Fight to pull that Aether Swordsman from my discard pile for 2. And then I spent 2 more resources to put the Handmaiden in play. She drops my threat by 1. And then now let's commit to the quest. I will commit 10 against 3. And we finally don't get an enemy. Broken battlements, so time 3. And when that time counter goes off, I got to discard the top 5 cards of my deck. And then we place 1 time counter back on. So that can mill your deck super fast. And then to travel there, you got to discard a card. I'm just glad it's not an enemy. I've been really getting nailed by these enemies nonstop. And that is what is making this playthrough much harder than any of the playthroughs I did when I was testing this deck against the quest. So we clear that Fornos square. We're up to 5 progress. And then I will travel to that Broken Battlements and discard the top card of my deck. And let's see what's on top now. All right, the Galadriel's Greeting. Now, I would love to play Galadriel's Greeting, but I actually have an opportunity here. So let's use Flame of Arnor. So we're going to add it to the victory display. It's going to cost me 2 because there's 1 in the discard pile. And that readies Gandalf. I discard the Galadriel's Greeting to the Flame of Arnor, and he now has 6 attack. And we're taking this guy undefended because there's no ally on top of my deck. So he's only attacking for 2 plus I got to discard the top card of my deck. Okay, well, I got very lucky because the top card was a 0 cost card. So that didn't add any... Ooh, that didn't add any attack. But now the top card is my last Will of the West, and I've purposely kept Gandalf's staff ready so I could grab it if I saw it. So that worked out so good. I purposely was not using Gandalf's staff to get rid of any of these shadows. I needed to try to grab that Will of the West if it popped up. So Gandalf, as you saw, he took 2 damage from that attack. Frodo's defending this one for 3. The enemy attacked for 4, plus the shadow said discard an attachment. Okay, so now I raised my threat by 1 because he attacked for 4. Frodo was defending for 3, so Frodo negates that damage. And then Gimli and Gandalf each can attack for enough to kill one of those baleful shades. And oh my gosh, I have finally killed all the enemies. Whew. I'm at 43 threat, so I have a Will of the West. I can shuffle in my deck. I mean, I have a good chance. For a while there, I did not think there was any chance of me beating this quest with the current board state, but I do have a chance. I just can't plan on Frodo taking a big attack and raising my threat. Okay, so the next 5 cards show Bilbo's in there. Well, that works out great because I'm going to use Will of the West to shuffle in my deck, and then I'll play Bilbo and grab a Wizard Pipe. So before we end the refresh phase, in the same action window that I use Stargazer, I will use Ziggy. I will say 4. I collected 2 resources, and then at the end of the round, I discard the top card of my deck. And then now we go into the next round. Like I said, I have 43 threat going into this round. We draw Bilbo. Top card, it's another staff. That doesn't matter because now in the planning phase, I will use Will of the West. It costs 2, but I can finally shuffle my discard pile into my deck. As you can see, I was almost out of cards. We're going to give the deck a shuffle, and if I could drop my threat from a Galadriel's Greeting, I will definitely be safe, but if I don't, that's okay. I still have a great chance to beat the quest in the next few rounds. I just can't let Frodo take a big attack and raise my threat by a lot. That is the only thing that's going to slow me down. Bilbo's going to come into play. He's going to cost 2, and he lets me find a pipe, so I am going to go and fetch that wizard pipe out of my deck. So let's give the deck a shuffle after finding that wizard pipe, and then we will be using Gimli's resource to put that into play from my hand. And I like that a good meal is on top of my deck. I can play that, and that'll help me play Galadriel's Greeting for 1. So attached to a Hobbit hero, discard a good meal to reduce the cost of the next event that matches the attached hero's sphere by 2. Okay, so obviously that goes on Frodo. And then now my top card is Treebeard. I would love to get him in play. I should have removed that time counter off that location. So that is gone. And then with my remaining 2 resources, I will put an Aether Swordsman into play. And then the last thing I'm going to do is use the Wizard Pipe to put a hidden cache from my hand on top of the deck. That's just a good practice. If you have a card that you want to get discarded, put it on top of your deck as you go into the questing phase, because there's lots of cards that could make you discard the top card of your deck. All right, so I'm going to send all those allies on the quest, but I miscalculate my willpower. I actually am questing for 2 more than I show. I forgot the Aether Swordsmen each have +1. It's not going to matter. I wouldn't clear this quest stage even if I had done it right. And we get, oh good, another location, the Fornos Square. So that's the one that keeps increasing its threat every time I discard cards. As you saw, I just gave up calculating that when it was the active location. So I'm definitely going to travel there. It's, my God, if that was in the staging area, the threat of that thing would get into the teens, I think. So now that I don't have any combat for the first time this game, I will use Gandalf's staff to give Gimli a resource. And I'm going to try to get a Citadel Plate on him. So I'm going to start trying to build up resources. I can't count on a well-equipped discarding the Citadel Plate to help me out. And I should have 10 progress instead of 8, and I need 11 total. So it didn't matter that I miscalculated there. All right, in the refresh phase, let's take a peek. Hey, there's a Citadel Plate and 2 hidden oh man, and a feint. Wow. Okay, that is really good to see. And this is confusing, but basically I forget to exhaust Ziggy at first. So he's supposed to say 2, and he discards the hidden cache and the Stargazer. And then the second hidden cache is going to get discarded from the end of the round effect. The net result is when Ziggy triggered his ability, he discarded the Stargazer, and someone gets 1 resource. And then the 2 hidden caches got discarded. And so I can put 2 resources on 2 different heroes or the same hero. Basically, I wanted Gimli to end up with 5 resources, which he gets to when he collects resources at the start of the turn. And then Frodo collected 2 resources from a hidden cache. And that lets me play the Citadel Plate and still have a resource held back for that feint. Sorry that was so confusing. I confused myself when I was doing it, but it all worked out. This quest with this deck is definitely causing some brain burn. All right, Wizard Pipe grabs me that feint off the top of my deck, and I put Treebeard back on top. I will pay for Treebeard, and he will be exhausted, of course. And the reason I used the Wizard Pipe there is that digs me down 1 card deeper into my deck. I would still like to find a Galadriel's Greeting so Frodo can take a big hit if he needs to. All right, sending all those allies on the quest. Once again, I forget those Aether Swordsmen are boosted, but I am sending way more than I need. And we get another location. It's the Norbury Tombs. And then while it's the active location, if it gets explored, we get to shuffle 5 cards from our discard pile back into our deck. That's pretty awesome. And then to travel there, we're going to need to put the topmost undead enemy in the discard pile into the staging area. Well, the good news is we cleared the active location. We made the progress we need. We get rid of that stupid curse. We go to 2A, a Fell Wraith. When revealed, add Tharadir to the staging area. And we're going to reveal 1 card per player. 2B, 13 quest points, forced. After Tharadir attacks and destroys a character, that character's controller must either discard the top 3 cards of his deck or return Tharadir to the staging area. If a player has no cards in his deck, he's eliminated from the game. The players cannot defeat the stage while Tharadir has any hit points remaining. If we defeat the stage, we're going to win. All right, let's take a look at this big baddie. What do we got? He's a 1 engagement, 4/6/4/9, undead, wraith, indestructible, cannot have attachments, and after a treachery card with a sorcery trait is revealed from the encounter deck, Tharadir is going to heal 3 damage and attack the first player. Okay, let's reveal a card, and we get the Broken Battlements. Okay, so if that had been a sorcery card, he would have made an attack against me. So I'm glad that wasn't a sorcery card, but I have a lot of threat in staging. And I really don't want to travel to any of these locations, so I just have to try to quest over them. They all add more progress than threat, and I basically need to win next round. All right, so I'm getting attacked. I'm going to feint. I don't want to worry about that attack at all. So let's see what the shadow would have been. Ooh, there's a good sorcery card that I don't want to reveal. All right. And let's swing back. So Gimli's swinging for 7 plus 1 from the axe. And then I have 2 more. So I'm basically attacking for 10, which means I'm going to do 6 damage. And we are going to go into the next round. And I need to win. I just know I need to win. I can't let Tharadir hang around. So we're going to be at 44 threat. Everyone's going to ready, and I'm going to use Stargazer, but first, let's make sure I use my staff and give Frodo a resource, because I didn't use it this round. All right, let's see what Stargazer finds. Stargazer takes a look into the future, and she finds Miravor, a Northern Tracker, a Quick Strike, ooh, and Ziggy and Flame of Arnor. I think I can Quick Strike to win. If I make 13 progress, I'm going to win with Quick Strike, as long as he doesn't heal. Okay, so a lot's going to depend on what I reveal next round. So let's give Treebeard his resource, but I doubt I'll ever use it. I'm going to draw this Quick Strike. Miravor is on top of my deck. Remember, I no longer need to discard a card at the end of the round. So Miravor is on top of my deck. I'll use Gandalf's ability in this phase to put Miravor on Gimli so that I can ready Gimli back up after he commits to the quest. I'm going to leave a card I don't want on top of my deck during questing in case I have to discard one. To be honest, I don't know if there's any effect that makes me only discard 1, but I mean, at least I'm trying to not discard the cards that I need. Let's put the Rittermark's Finest into play. 1 more willpower, and then sending everybody on the quest. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, whoa. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and then let's trigger Miravor. So I'm going to ready Gimli and give him +1 willpower. So that's 25, and I'm up against 7. I forgot to remove that time counter, but I'm counting on this being the last round. So, okay, 25 against 7, and I need to make 13 progress, and we get the Shadow World. It surges and it makes me do something at the end of the round, but it does ready Aerion and gives me +1 willpower, and I get, oh lord, okay, the Power of Agmar, that surges. It doesn't do anything right now. I get another willpower. Okay, please stop with the surging. And okay, Baleful Shade, so that's just +2, so that's 9, and 9 against 25 is more than 13. So okay, I think I did it. This quest is really hard, and I'm really glad that I think I did it here. So let's just say in the action window in the travel phase, I will use my staff to draw that card. So now Flame of Arnor is on top of my deck. Spend Frodo's resource to add that to the victory display. That'll ready Gandalf and give him +X attack, where X is the cost of the top card of my deck that I discard. So that's +4. So that means Gandalf is swinging for 7. And then with Gimli's resource, Quick Strike, an attack of 7, does 3 damage, and Gandalf takes down Tharadir in an epic battle that I just love. That is how I finished this quest off. But I hope I played everything right. My God, this was a brain burner. And I really hope I didn't make some sort of game negating play, but I think I have a clean win here. Let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed that one. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.